Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Culture and Clients. I'm Esther Angell with Insightfully Curious Consulting.
Hi, Tammy Vasbinder with Vast Strategies. Nice to see you guys again.
Yay. So
Yay.
today we are going to be talking about behavior, and I like this topic very much because I think it's something that we can all relate to. We all have behavior, we all have actions that we do, and this is an opportunity to really talk about what's going to drive our businesses forward in both our clients externally as well as internally for our organizations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we'll be talking about what you said, Esther, how you can change your behavior in the office, but also what behaviors can you do to move the needle when it comes to sales or marketing in your business externally as well.
Yeah, great. So let's get kicking off. When we think about behavior, I always think that folks, it's like communication. You're always communicating something. You have a behavior, you have a particular way that you act. And what I think a lot of people struggle with, especially when it comes to cultural engagement, is what that behavior indicates to the people around you. For example, there was a leader who was a little bit of a clutter bug. She had stuff all around her office, including things stacked on her chairs. And she wanted to be more engaged with her teammates, wanted her staff to be able to come in and talk with her. And when she would get these 360 reviews, they'd come back and say, "You're unapproachable." And she just couldn't understand why. So when she went back a little further and asked people, "Why do you think I'm unapproachable?" It was because she had stuff stacked in chairs
Yeah.
and nobody could come in and sit down. So what
Yeah.
that behavior was indicating to the staff around her was, I don't really want to talk to you. I don't have time for you. Get out of my office,"
Yeah.
which was not her intent. So a lot of times we have to anchor our behavior between intent and impact. So the intent was, I just got to organize this. I put it on this chair so I remember to do it. However, the impact was negative in a way that we didn't really anticipate. And I think the
Mhm.
same runs true with your clients. You have to be intentional about the behaviors that you enact.
Yeah.
Tammy, you were talking, we've talked about this before,
Mhm.
and where behavior fits in that when we think about selling and we think about growing our business.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like in your world, in terms of sales, you can't control your circumstances or how people respond, but you
Right.
can control your behaviors and what you commit to every day. Something, we partner with Staub and Associates and my partner, Kate Kohler. And something she said that really stuck to me is when you have a bad day, like let's say that you have a prospect and there's all these signs that they're going to buy. And for some reason they go with someone else. Ask yourself, like on a scale of 0 to death, how bad is it? You
Yeah.
know, how bad is this right now? And it's good to also ask, what could we have done differently so you can learn from your mistake? But you just can't control why people do the things they can do, but you can control how you react to that situation.
Yes, I remember having that specific conversation internally with one of my team members, and he had come from military forces. And I advocate for hiring folks from the military all the time because they're so well trained and they're dedicated and loyal and all these great characteristics you want in your organization. And he was so frustrated with some clients and some team members because he was a project manager and they weren't hitting their deadlines. And I finally was like, how is nobody's gonna die? And he's like, "You're
Yeah, like
right.
how bad
You're
is it?
right." Put it in perspective, like, you were in roles where people's lives were on the line. You are not there anymore. So, let's put that in perspective, and I think that's a key point is keeping that perspective within our organizations. The other thing you mentioned I appreciate is intention,
Hmm.
being intentional about those behaviors.
Yeah.
Would we think about, especially internally culture, what do you want to get out of it? If you're operating and you say, "Yeah, we have a great culture," how do you know is my first question. How do you know you
Hmm.
have a great culture? What have you done to ensure that? And secondly, all of the actions and behaviors that people exhibit affect that culture, not just
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And I was speaking with a small business owner and he had what I call a tiger, somebody who worked really well on their own but didn't play well with others and was really causing disruption. I kind of encouraged him to think about, you've got this person that's causing grief within your organization. He
Hmm.
doesn't play well with others. He thinks he's doing a better job and deserves more than everyone else. How is that affecting your culture? And is that the culture that you want to groom?
Yeah.
And it's not saying that a high performance culture doesn't. Sure, competition are healthy and it can be healthy in high performance cultures. All these things can be healthy, But how do you want to retain people? How do you want to keep people? How do you want your organization to operate? Because all of this internal behavior affects our clients.
Yeah, yeah, and what one person may really be into, somebody else may not be interested in. So you
Yes.
really need to learn what your employees are interested in. So
Yes.
like for me, when I worked at iHeartRadio, I loved going on trips. Like we played baseball together, like we just had so much fun. But other people that I worked with, they were like, I don't care about that stuff. Like I don't even
Yes.
want to do that stuff. And it's important to learn, okay, what makes you happy? What do you
Right.
want? You know, is it
Right.
maybe an extra personal day, or do you want incentivized and win a trip by winning this,
Right.
salesperson
Right.
of the year award, whatever it might
Right.
be. But everybody kind of wants something different, you know? Sometimes it might even be food. Like some people are really big foodies. Like they might
Yes.
just want you to cater lunch
Yes.
someday at the office.
Yeah. And I've seen small companies do that too, where there's like 30 people in the office and they just cater lunch almost every day. Or in some places they do every day.
Yeah.
And that's just a benefit because it builds camaraderie. But they're intentional about it. It's not something they do just because it's something we want to create the space in which we're asking people to come into the office. And in post-COVID world, that can be challenging. We're going to provide these benefits because we want people to talk to each other and we want to get the benefit out of all being in the
Yeah.
same place at the same time and having that proximity.
Absolutely, and, looking back on my radio days, we did trade a lot. So if you're a
Yeah.
corporation where you can trade services, then you don't even have to pay for the food, you know, but we
Yeah.
would trade airtime in
Yeah.
exchange for restaurants like Firehouse and, restaurants like
Nice.
that. But then also we would trade with Carnes. So every Friday we would get, like, bagels and donuts, and salespeople were allowed to bring the bagels
Yeah.
in to their clients, but then we would all
Nice.
hang out and eat bagels in the kitchen and
Yes.
have a good
Yes.
time. But I remember every Friday, like walking into my client's office, like, hey, happy Friday. And they loved it.
Yes. They
So
absolutely love it.
people love food. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and you also talk, and I think this affects both internally and externally when we talk about our behavior towards our clients. And we have some organizations, again, your internal culture dictates how you treat your clients. And some
Hmm.
organizations are very much always make the customer happy, even at the
Yeah.
cost. Sometimes it's at the cost of the bottom line, but we're building customer loyalty or there's
Hmm.
certain trust elements that we're building. Those things all affect that external behavior of how your employees treat your customers and then what your
Hmm.
customers begin to expect from your organization. Behaviors, Tammy, that you think that people should take into consideration when we're
Yeah.
thinking about working with our clients. What are the types of behaviors that are really critical
Yeah.
to keep in mind?
Absolutely. Well, something again that I learned through the Sandler training is adult to adult relationship,
Mm,
instead of adult to child, like always pleasing the customer. But if you have an
right.
adult to adult relationship with the customer, one of the big things is an upfront contract. Like letting them know upfront when you're having a meeting, this is what we're going to be talking about. I'm sure you're going to have questions for me about XYZ. I'm going to have questions for you. It's going to take maybe 45 minutes. At the end of our time, we can discuss next step. Does that sound good to you? Because a lot of
Right.
times people go into meetings and they don't know, but having that upfront contract always helps things, and then the upfront contract kind of runs through that entire sales
Right.
process as well. So they
Right.
always know where they stand with you. The other thing is when you have a meeting with a client, making sure that you recap that meeting.
Mm.
My
Yeah.
customers love that. When I have a meeting with them, I send a recap. This is my action steps. These are your action steps. We agreed to have this done by this date. And they're like, Tammy, this is so great. Thank you so much for sending this. You're really on top of it.
Hmm.
So, but it's that upfront contract. So I don't think you have to bend over backwards and, you know, really kind of suck up to your client. I think you just treat them like an adult.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I'm
Teach
here to
and
help you with your business. And this is what we need to do to get the
right.
job done, basically.
And it's a I think something you pointed on there, and you can call it, I think you're calling it a contract, but it's also expectation management.
Mhm.
And even in psychology, relationships are built on expectations. It's
Yeah.
really critical as we have expectation management to think through what is that expectation? Have I clearly defined it? This is something I'm launching a new manager training early next year. And in that, one of the whole
Congratulations.
modules, yeah, thank you. I'm very excited. One of the modules is around expectation management. How to set those expectations clearly, because how many times have we been in a relationship, even with our partner, people that we love or our children? I didn't know that's what you expected. I literally had this conversation yesterday with my husband of, this is what I had expected, and that's not what was received, whether in
Mhm.
communication or action.
Yeah.
So expectation management across the board is one of those key behaviors that will help. It takes a little time to set it to make sure it's clear and to do a good
Yeah.
job of that. But once you do, you're going to really reap the benefits of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we call I love expectation management, like we call it upfront contracts, but I do
Yeah.
that in my personal life too.
Yes.
With my husband, with my children. Like
Yes.
if we're going somewhere, I expect you to, be polite at dinner, make eye contact, don't be on your phone. Like there's certain expectations I have throughout that dinner. Like my son was has his first girlfriend and we went bowling together with the dad and the daughter and everything. And he said to me, he's like, Jacob has such a firm handshake. And every time I come into a room, he stands up, looks me in the eye, asks how I'm doing. He's like, he's unlike any other teenager I know. And I'm not taking all the credit, but I've taught him that since he
Yeah.
was a little child. Like, make eye contact with an adult when they come into the room, ask how they're doing. Like, don't ignore them. Don't be on your phone. Don't be a zombie. Like, that's rude,
Right. Right.
So, but it's that expectation that
Yes.
I've
And
rehearsed with
training.
him since he was a little kid,
Right. Right,
Yeah,
and training and
absolutely.
and holding people accountable to that, and I think accountability is something that can feel very awkward. Another thing that we're talking about in our manager training, and I've talked to a couple other folks at a panel I recently hosted around this boss man mentality, especially for new managers and in the dynamic of the relationship. We've all worked with those customers, and we've all had those bosses that felt like they had to be boss man.
Yeah,
And I don't it's you know what I mean. I don't even almost have to explain it because oh my god, he's being boss man today. This
yeah,
authoritarian style that says, "I have to be in control and tell everyone what to do," and that's actually not the role of a good leader. A leader isn't
yeah,
telling everyone what to do. A leader is listening, guiding, and setting direction, right?
yeah,
But I've seen it with customers as well, where they come in and bluster and feel that they have to set the stage because you're a contractor or you're somebody who's working for them, by golly, and you're gonna do what I say. And we
yeah,
always, again, have choices in how we set those expectations
absolutely.
and not getting emotional and flustered is like step number 1, that stop, think, breathe kind of behavior.
I used to do this mantra where I would get flustered and I would try
Mhm.
not to show it. So I would do
Yeah.
this mantra in my head that would go 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. What the hell is bothering me? And I would say it like in these like different voices, like a Russian voice, like whatever, until
I
I
love
like
it.
calm myself down
Yeah.
because I used to always have a tendency to just say whatever was on my mind. And I'm
Yeah.
learning to like stop and pause and take a
Mhm.
beat.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had a manager that did that for me, the wax on, wax off
Yeah.
mantra. I get so worked up, and this is early in my career, and I was managing a team for the first time, a large team for the first time, and I remember him. I'd come in there so worked up, and he'd like, wax on, wax
That's
off. Just
awesome.
calm down,
Yeah.
go back into the routine, kind of that meditative, like, what's
Yeah.
really going on?
Yeah.
Then we can talk through it. So we've understood the behaviors and you start to recognize the patterns. And we got to the point where I was finally able to recognize I was worked up about something and I either needed to vent or calm down. I just go to the soft, I just need to calm down for a minute. And
Just need a little break.
he just
I
smiled.
used to tell my kids,
Wait.
"Mommy's on a timeout. I need a timeout right now," because I
Yes.
just needed like a break from the kids. I remember those
Yes.
days. Yeah.
Oh, are losing like my family, some of my family is known for just these hot tempers. And so when it gets to that point, I've got to go now. I know now. I feel it coming. I'm just angry. I am angry and I am going
Yeah.
away.
Yeah. I'm just gonna walk away. I usually take my dog for a walk.
Oh, that's a good one. I don't have a
Yeah.
dog and my cat is not going for a walk with me.
Yeah.
That's not
It
a
it
good plan,
helps
but
just to get
yes.
out and get some fresh air. So yeah,
Yes, and be out in the
absolutely.
sunlight.
Yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely, and I
absolutely.
think those are key things as well when we're talking about behaviors is what is it that's going to help you refocus? What's
Mhm.
gonna help you realign and understanding that there's a lot of self-awareness, especially as owners or as managers, as leaders in organizations, that having that self-awareness of where your strength and weaknesses land.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And when we talk about behaviors too, I have this sheet here that you can, on Fridays, you plan out your week, right?
Yes,
But a
right,
lot of times people think about like, what deadlines do I have? Like, what's urgent? And that's important. You have to do urgent things, but there's behaviors that you should do that aren't urgent. For
right.
example, we were talking about like keeping your customers happy. Doing check-ins with your customers, that's not urgent, but
Yes.
every 3 months or so, I check in with my customers. I either take them to lunch or hop on a call, ask, "Hey, what could we be doing better?
Right.
Are there any challenges that you're facing right now?" That's where you can ask for introductions. That's
Mhm.
where you can talk about other services that you offer as well. But it's just really good to check in with your customers every 3 months. It doesn't always go towards a sale, but a lot of times
Right.
you're planting that seed. I had
Yes.
a marketing director of a very large corporation tell me, "Tammy, I've never in my life had a marketing person come to me and say, 'Hey, what can I do to make your job easier? Is there anything that we're doing that
Yeah.
you would like changed?'" And she said, "You guys are doing a great job. We don't need it." But she's like, "It was so refreshing,
Yeah.
because usually people come to have a meeting to try to sell them something.
Right. I want something more. Right.
Yeah, and we wanna make sure that our clients are happy because that client is on the top of all the other salespeople's prospecting list.
Right.
So I wanna make sure that they're happy with me, that they're not
Right.
gonna take that call and switch,
And
switch
yep,
marketing
switch
firms.
services. And there's something key you said in there about structure, and it's the same internally for when we're building culture. We have to create cadences, one-on-ones, team meetings. There
Mhm.
has to be a cadence and a management of expectation.
Yeah.
So this with our clients, we want to do that as well. It's not, but every 3 months, if that's your standard, you pencil that in. You call, you make those appointments. It's not something you're like, oh yeah, I got to do that. It's
Yeah.
on the list. It's planned to do that. It's the same internally. If you're doing one-on-ones, it cannot be when, "Oh, yeah, we haven't done one in a while."
Yeah.
No,
It has to be
it's on the
planned.
calendar every single time. Same as, like, employee meetings. So at
Mhm.
one organization, it was in the CEO's head, but it wasn't on everyone's calendar. So
Yeah.
it seemed like what again, intent and impact. What it seemed like is it was a last minute, "Oh, we gotta have an employee meeting this month." No,
Yeah.
we have an employee meeting every quarter. It's on the calendar. It's scheduled. You can expect to receive this information at this
Yeah.
point in time. So internally, it's the same principle. Whatever those, because a lot of times employee meetings aren't urgent. Like if you're having an urgent employee meeting, there's something big going on,
Yeah.
but you need to keep people informed. They need to feel connected. They need to understand the purpose and how the organization's doing. It's the same with your clients. You're
Mhm.
asking the question, you're listening. We're we're creating that cadence and that structure.
Yeah, yeah. We used to have this meeting at the radio station called Signature Solutions. Ann Carnathan, the director of sales there, had it every Monday. We would drive out to Middletown and you would actually, like, it was training, right? But then you would stand up and you would talk about the new business that you got. It was just fun, but I'm pretty competitive in nature. So, like, I knew I wanted to get new business to stand up and say what business I
Yeah.
had. So it kind of was a motivator for me as
Drove
well.
behavior. So these kinds of things can also drive the behavior of the people in your team.
Yeah.
And there was a really great sales manager I worked with, Kate Strittmatter, and she's does something else now. She's not in the same role anymore, but she had a USPS, a postal service hat, and the top performer of the month got the hat because they delivered.
I like it.
I loved it. And so all of these salespeople are competing to get this hat, right?
Yeah.
Because they're like, I
Because it's
want
so
that hat.
small. I want the
Mm-hmm.
hat.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
And when you think about behaviors too, it's some of those mundane tasks. Like I
Oh
have
yeah.
Christmas cards sitting on my desk that I'm gonna be sending out. But I also send out thank you cards to clients. I sent out a thank you card to a big prospect once, and we ended up winning the business. And I asked the guy, "Hey, what made you decide to choose Vast Strategies?" And he said, "Tammy, you sent me a thank you card for a meeting." He said, "I don't even get thank you cards when I do business with someone." And he said, "That
That's
really stuck out to me." So
yeah.
it wasn't just the thank you card, but it was all the little behaviors that I did along the way, and the thank you card was kind of the icing on the cake, you
Right.
know? So it seems tedious and it's like it's on my list and I'm like, "Oh, great, I gotta sit here for 20 minutes and write thank you cards." But the texts I get from my clients, like,
Yeah.
"Thank you so much for taking the time to mail that to me." Like, I
Yeah.
usually just get bills in the mail. That's great.
It's a lost art. It's a lost art. I actually had custom cards made, and I'm assuming you would do the same thing. I had
Yeah.
custom cards made. Yes, I
Yeah,
love it.
these are Christmas cards,
Lovely.
put a little
Yeah.
team on it.
Yay. I love it.
But I
Yeah,
have
so
all kinds of cards sitting here on my desk,
I
and
had
that's
these cards made
yeah.
because I had those cards made just because I wanted to give that thing in the mail. And then it was funny. So one of them, I wrote a funny name because it's a good friend of mine who helped me on my podcast. and it didn't get delivered. So that was really fun too, because he's like, I saw that it was supposed to show up and then it never showed up and it got returned to sender. But then that's a nice social media post. So
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And I even put little cards inside the card, either
yes,
inspirational quotes or scripture, depending on the client. And
I
the
like
one
that.
guy that my vendor, when I mail my checks to my vendor, he took a picture and he's got all these
Oh,
scriptures on his office of what I've mailed him over the last month. He's like, Tammy, this is so nice. Like
yes.
when I'm having a hard day, I'll just look at this. And he's got it at the back of his office. So
Yeah.
it just, it's just a nice little touch.
It's a nice touch. That's something else you're tapping into are the unexpected behaviors that are positive, those positive reinforcements. So we're
Hmm.
associating a positive experience with yourself and with your organization.
Yeah.
And our brains want to thrive. They thrive in getting those positive reinforcements.
Yeah.
A lot of, I think, salespeople and folks fall into the trap of I have to buy a drink or I have to take to lunch. And those are fine. Those are not bad things to do inherently, but it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. I
Yeah.
think that's the else. It's
It could be
behavior,
just a
it's
little
time.
gesture.
Yes, it's those
Absolutely.
gestures. Because as humans, we want to be connected.
Yeah. Yeah. And going back to the one on ones with the boss and the employees, really sitting down and learning about them. Hey, what's your 5-year plan? Like they may
Yeah.
have them on track for management and their 5-year plan is to have babies and be a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
So it's good to have those conversations. Like
Right.
those are questions I should be asking my team.
Right.
So there's no surprises. But
Right.
also learning what they like and don't like. So you can have those little positive reinforcements.
Right.
No.
Right. Right. What matters to them and what I think there's also the how much time I need to process information and
Hmm.
learn this. I process things very quickly and I process things externally very often with other team members. But some people need time to internalize to process. So we
Yeah.
started sending out team meetings. And a lot of times, if I don't know someone, I will send information in advance because if they're like me, they may not look at it and it's no big deal. They'll get it when we have the meeting. But if they're
Yeah.
not like me and they need time to process, they so appreciate getting the opportunity to
Hmm.
process through and think about before you walk into the meeting because you feel more prepared.
Yeah. Yeah, and also on that, know your audience. So I have a
Yes.
client that's very, very direct and he sends 1 or 2 sentences.
Yep.
So when I have a meeting with this client, I can't send him a recap that's a whole page long. Like his head will explode. So what I do is, Rob, so nice to see you today. Attaches a recap from our meeting. And I put it in a Word document and it's attached. Because if he would open up the email and see like
Yes.
a whole page of notes, he would be like, "Why is she sending this to me?" And
Yes.
who knows? He may not open it, the recap, but it's just a habit that I get
Hmm.
into to let people know,
You can
this is
expect
what
it.
yeah, this is what we've discussed. This is your action items. These are mine. We'll
Hmm.
reconvene at this date.
And there's especially with AI now, it's so convenient. You could have something read to you. You can have plug that in and say, summarize this for me in the style that I like. So there's so many
Mhm.
we're sharing information, and I think we can that it gives an opportunity for people to share it and process it, more personally.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I need to change my AI's voice. It drives me crazy. Every now and then it will start reading to me. I'm like, stop. I don't like
Stop it, don't my son gets a hold of my phone. Have your
Yeah.
kids done this? He loves to do practical jokes on my phone. So he programmed it and I still haven't figured out how to change it. He programmed my phone to send a text to his sister from my phone once a month that says Arwen is my favorite.
And you can't change it.
I don't know how to change it. I gotta go in there and figure it out. The second thing he did was he actually changed the voice of Siri, which changed the voice of the person answering my phone. So I had some guy speaking English that sounded like he was from Africa on my
Oh,
phone,
that's
and my
fantastic.
husband called me and was like, "There's some dude answering your phone."
That's
So
fantastic. I have an Australian voice for Siri and it drives my son crazy. And then I always try to like do the accent. He's like, Mom, please, I'm not ready for this right now. I can't handle you right now.
I
That's
don't
what he
think I
says
can
to me.
handle any of this right now.
Yeah, he can't handle it right now.
It's okay. Well, we can handle each other. It was great talking to you
Oh,
today,
you too.
Tammy.
Absolutely,
Yes.
Esther. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, and
Yeah.
thank everyone for joining us. We're glad that you're here. You can continue to subscribe, like, join in, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks.